All right, so let's dive into the mage class at first level in Dungeons & Dragons.
Okay.
If you're new to D&D and maybe you pick this class, get ready for a wild ride.
Yeah.
We're going to go beyond just, what are the spells today, all about understanding how a mage works
Right.
in actual gameplay.
Yeah, it's like having the keys to a powerful engine.
Okay.
We need to understand how to drive it.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
And you're here to help us navigate, right?
Exactly.
Especially with this character sheet we've got in front of us.
Yeah.
Okay, so first things first, why is a mage's spellcasting so different from, let's say, other classes?
Mm-hmm.
They're not swinging swords, they're not shooting arrows. So how do they bring the magic?
Right. Well, mages, they tap into the weave, the very fabric of magic, and that's reflected in how their spells work.
Okay.
If you look at the spellcasting section on the character sheet, you'll see spell slots.
Yeah.
And those are like reservoirs of magical energy that a mage can tap into.
So instead of arrows in a quiver, it's these spell slots.
Yeah, exactly.
But you only have a limited number.
Exactly, and they recharge after a long rest.
Oh, wow.
Which means that mages have to be very strategic about how they use their spells. You can't just unleash, a barrage of spells like a fighter throws punches.
Right.
You need to choose your moments carefully.
Makes sense. So does that mean that, like, before each adventure, a mage picks which spells to prepare for that day?
Exactly.
It's like packing a magical toolkit.
It is.
But you only have limited space.
Precisely. And the choices that you make there really can dramatically affect how the game plays out.
Oh, wow.
Do you go for a mix of offense and defense?
Right.
Or do you specialize in one area?
That's a lot of pressure.
It can be,
for a new player.
Yeah.
But thankfully, there are these things called cantrips.
Yes.
Spells that a mage can use as much as they want.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be a relief.
Absolutely. Cantrips are your bread and butter.
Okay.
Your trusty tools for any situation. And if you look at the ones listed on the character sheet, there's Prestidigitation and Ray of Frost.
So let's start with Prestidigitation.
Okay.
It's a bit of a mouthful to say.
It is.
But it sounds very versatile. The description in the rulebook makes it sound like a party trick spell.
Uh-huh.
What can you actually do with it in the game?
Think of it as a way to add flavor and fun to your actions. You can instantly clean or soil an object, chill or warm a drink. You can create harmless sensory effects, like a puff of smoke or a brief scent. You can even make a small object glow or change color.
Okay, so it's not about big flashy effects.
Right.
But small creative touches.
Exactly.
A mischievous mage could really make this shine.
Exactly. Imagine distracting a guard with a sudden, inexplicable gust of wind, or leaving a glowing symbol to signal your allies.
Okay.
The possibilities are limited only by your imagination.
I'm starting to see how even a seemingly minor spell can have a big impact on the game.
Yeah.
Okay, what about Ray of Frost that sounds more directly combat-focused?
It is... You create a ray of freezing energy that deals a small amount of cold damage.
Right.
But what's really interesting is that it also slows down the target, reducing their speed.
So it's not just about the damage.
Right.
But also hindering the enemy's movement. That could be really useful.
Yeah, in a chase.
Right.
Keeping an enemy from reaching your allies.
Yeah, exactly.
So cantrips, they might not be as powerful as higher level spells, but they're reliable tools that you can use in any situation.
Got it.
Now let's move on to those first level spells. This is where things start to get really exciting.
Like unlocking a new tier of magical power.
Yeah.
I'm ready to see some fireworks. What's the first spell on this character sheet?
It's Shield.
Okay.
And it's a must-have for any mage, especially at lower levels.
Really?
It can literally be the difference between surviving a tough encounter and having to make a new character.
Ooh, that sounds dramatic.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the description from the rulebook. An invisible barrier of magical force appears and protects you. Until the start of your next turn, you have a +5 bonus to AC, including against the triggering attack, and you take no damage from magic missile.
The key here is that it's a reaction.
Okay.
Meaning you can use it in response to something happening,
So-
like an enemy attacking you.
So it's a last-minute defensive maneuver, a magical panic button.
Exactly. Imagine a fierce orc swings his axe at you.
Okay.
You cast Shield, and suddenly you're much harder to hit that +5 bonus to your armor class.
Right.
Makes a huge difference. It could be just enough to avoid getting cleaved into.
Okay. Shield definitely going on my mage's must-have list.
Good choice.
What's next? I see sleep.
Okay.
The name sounds pretty self-explanatory.
It is, but there's some nuance to how it works.
Okay.
You cause creatures within range to fall unconscious based on their hit points.
Mm-hmm.
The lower their hit points, the more likely they are to fall asleep.
So it's most effective against weaker enemies. Or those who've already taken some damage, like a magical lullaby.
Exactly.
Works best on the already tired.
Precisely. But there's a catch.
Okay.
If your allies accidentally hit a sleeping enemy or make a lot of noise, they might wake up.
Oh.
So coordination is key.
Teamwork is essential, even when dealing with sleepy goblins.
Yes.
All right, next on the list is protection from evil and good. That sounds very specific.
This spell creates a magical barrier that wards you against certain types of creatures. Celestials, fiends, fae, and undead.
Oh.
It makes it harder for them to charm, frighten, or possess you.
So it's a niche spell,
It is.
but incredibly valuable if you know you're going into an adventure with those kinds of creatures.
Exactly. It's like packing garlic for a vampire hunt.
Yeah, but magical.
The magical, exactly. It's all about choosing the right tools for the job. And speaking of tools, let's move on to a spell that's a bit more unsettling.
Okay.
Ray of Sickness.
Just the name makes me squirm. Is this one as gross as it sounds?
The flavor text can be a bit vivid, but what matters is the effect you project a ray of sickening energy that deals poison damage and might even inflict the poison condition on the target.
So it's not just about the initial damage,
Right.
but also weakening the enemy over time.
Exactly.
A nasty 1-2 punch.
And that poison condition can have various effects depending on the dungeon master. It can mean reduce strength disadvantage on attacks or other penalties.
Definitely a spell to use when you want to make an enemy feel truly awful. Okay. I'm ready for something a bit more explosive now. What about Thunderwave?
Now we're talking.
Okay.
This spell creates a wave of thunderous force that deals thunder damage to creatures within range.
Okay.
But here's the fun part. It also pushes them away from you.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
Yeah.
So you could potentially use this to knock enemies back.
Yeah.
Maybe off a cliff or into a trap.
Exactly. The possibilities are endless, but be warned, Thunderwave does not discriminate. It affects everyone in the area, friend or foe.
So it's not a spell to use lightly?
No.
You could accidentally send your allies flying along with your enemies.
That's right.
Strategic placement and timing are crucial with this one.
Absolutely.
Now let's take a look at a classic spell. The go-to for many mages. Magic Missile.
Magic
The name alone sounds powerful. What makes this spell so special?
Simplicity and reliability.
Okay.
You create 3 darts of magical force that unerringly strike your target. No attack rolls needed. They just hit, dealing force damage.
Guaranteed damage.
Yes.
That's got to be a lifesaver when you absolutely need to land a hit,
Absolutely.
especially against an elusive enemy.
Exactly. It's a great contrast to Ray of Frost, which requires an attack roll and might miss.
Right.
Magic Missile is your ace in the hole when you need guaranteed damage.
So Magic Missile for when you need a sure thing, and Ray of Frost when you want to be a bit more tactical. Got it. But wait, there are a couple more spells on this character sheet that we haven't talked about yet.
You're right. We still need to discuss Magic Armor and Sleep.
Okay.
These are both excellent spells for a first-level mage, but offer very different effects.
Well, I'm all ears. Let's dive into those next.
They both have their own nuances and tactical advantages. Before we get into that, let's take a quick look at what makes them unique mechanically. Okay, so Magic Armor is a great example of a spell that enhances your mage's defenses without relying on a reaction like the shield spell.
Okay, so it's more about preparation than reacting to a sudden threat.
Yeah, exactly. This spell lets you touch a willing creature and imbue them with protective magical energy.
Okay.
The target's armor class becomes 13 plus their dexterity modifier.
Hold on, can you break down what armor class means for those who might be totally new to D&D?
Sure. Think of armor class as a representation of how hard it is to hit someone in combat.
Okay.
The higher the armor class, the better their defenses.
So with magic armor, you're essentially giving them a boost to their defenses.
You are.
So this could be a good strategy for protecting weaker party members who might not have great armor.
Absolutely, especially since it lasts for 8 hours.
Wow.
Meaning it can protect them through a whole adventuring day.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
It's like giving them a magical force field that stays with them.
It is.
And unlike some of their spells, it doesn't require concentration.
Right.
That means the mage can cast it and then focus on other spells or actions.
Exactly.
Okay, so magic armor is a great way to buff up a party member's defenses for a long time. What about sleep? We touched on it earlier, but didn't go into detail.
Yeah, sleep is an interesting spell because it has the potential to end encounters very quickly, but it also comes with some risks.
I remember you mentioned that it's based on hit points.
Right.
And that allies can accidentally wake up sleeping enemies.
Yes, you cast sleep on a group of creatures, and those with the lowest hit points are the most likely to fall unconscious. You roll a special die, And the total determines how many hit points worth of creatures you can affect.
So it's not about the number of enemies, but their total health pool?
Exactly. So you might be able to knock out a bunch of weaker enemies,
Right.
but a big, tough monster might just shrug it off.
Got it. And remember, any damage or loud noise can wake them up.
Yeah.
So it's best used when you can isolate a group of enemies and finish them off quickly.
Exactly. It's a high-risk, high-reward spell.
Yeah.
Used strategically, it can be a real game changer, but misjudging the situation could backfire spectacularly.
That's the beauty of the mage class, though.
It is.
It's about making smart choices with your spells and understanding the risks involved.
For sure.
It's like playing a game of magical chess.
Mm.
You have to think several moves ahead and anticipate the consequences. So we've covered quite a few spells now, from cantrips like Prestidigitation and Ray of Frost to first-level spells like Shield Magic Armor and Sleep.
And we've only scratched the surface.
There's still so much more to discover. We haven't even talked about the different schools of magic a mage can specialize in.
Right.
I'm already feeling a bit overwhelmed,
Yeah.
but also incredibly excited.
It is a lot to take in, especially for a new player. But don't worry, we're here to guide you through it.
I feel like we've given our listener a solid foundation. We've unpacked how a mage's spellcasting works, talked about some key spells they have access to at first level, and even touched on the strategic thinking involved.
But there's still one crucial aspect of playing a mage that we haven't explored yet.
Yeah.
And it's something that goes beyond the mechanics and rules.
Ooh, I'm intrigued. What is it? Oh, okay. What is it?
It's the role-playing aspect.
Okay.
Remember, you're not just a collection of stats and spells. Your mage is a character
Right.
with a personality, a backstory, motivations, and goals.
Ah, so it's not just about what spells you cast, but how you cast them.
Yeah.
It's about bringing your mage to life.
Precisely think about how your mage's personality might influence their spellcasting choices.
Okay.
A timid mage might favor defensive spells like Shield,
Right.
while a more daring mage might go for big, flashy spells like Thunderwave.
I see.
And even a simple cantrip like Prestidigitation can become a powerful tool for role-playing.
So instead of just cleaning a dirty cup, imagine using it to create a distraction by making a small object suddenly glow brightly,
Yeah.
causing a commotion,
Exactly.
or using it to leave a secret message for your allies by subtly changing the color of a flower.
Mm-hmm.
The possibilities are endless.
And that's just one cantrip.
Right.
Think about the dramatic moments you can create with other spells.
Okay.
Maybe your mage uses Sleep to end a conflict, peacefully sparing the lives of their enemies.
Okay.
Or perhaps they cast protection from evil and good to shield an innocent villager from a demonic threat.
So the rules are a framework,
Yeah,
but it's our imagination that truly builds the world and tells the story.
exactly. The mechanics are there to provide structure and balance, but it's the players and the dungeon master who bring the magic to life.
This has been an incredible deep dive into the world of the mage.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground, from understanding the basics of spellcasting to exploring the strategic and creative possibilities of different spells.
And remember, this is just the beginning. As your mage levels up, they'll gain access to even more powerful spells and abilities,
Wow.
opening up even more opportunities for exciting gameplay and storytelling.
I'm already itching to create my own mage and see what kind of adventures await.
Sounds fun.
I'm envisioning a bookish, somewhat shy apprentice who discovers a hidden talent for powerful magic.
That sounds like a great character.
Yeah, and remember, you don't have to have everything figured out from the start.
No.
Let your mage's story unfold naturally as you play.
Absolutely.
That's great advice. Don't be afraid to experiment, make mistakes,
Yeah.
and most importantly, have fun.
And if you ever need a refresher on those first level spells or want to explore other aspects of playing a mage,
Right.
you know where to find us.
That's right. We'll be here ready to take another deep dive into the world of D&D. Until then, may your dice rolls be ever in your favor and your magical journeys be filled with wonder and excitement.